All right, fellow babies, welcome back to Pachter on SIFTD.net. We are hopeful that you're able to afford a SIFTD.net membership for only $50 a year. If you do, Shane can continue to feed his family and maybe produce some great content for you in the future. If you can't afford it, we understand. You watch us on YouTube a week later, that's fine. We really appreciate a thumbs up and a share if you can. So likes and shares help us get the word out. We'd like to have as many people see the content as possible. Gets us higher advertising revenue, gets us more new members. So that would help us out a lot if you like it. If you don't like it, then don't watch. And we'd be really happy with that too. This week's episode, we're going to try to talk about Nintendo and primarily about mobile, but we'll talk about more Nintendo. Our first question comes from Twitter, from @JeffGames24. Super Mario Run. Who paid who? Is this a good step for either company? By who paid who, I assume you mean did Apple pay for it? The answer is no. I think it's constructed as kind of a lame game. It might be good. I get it. It's the original Mario team, but it's a runner game. So as you all know, if you play Temple Run, you look at the character from behind and you run, jump over obstacles until you die. Super Mario Run's going to be that way, you know, jump over pipes and bridges and bricks and mushrooms and butt stomping and whatever. That's cool, that's fun, that's nostalgic. I am certain that Apple didn't pay Nintendo anything, but I am equally certain that Apple will provide a ton of promotion for the game when it comes out. I heard that Apple is now allowing you to register to be notified the instant it comes out, so it'll pop up on your phone screen and say download now, so you'll get a ton of downloads. That's just going to happen. What ends up happening is Mario will be exclusive for iPhone for a period of time in exchange for Apple providing promotional dollars. So Nintendo gets nothing except free promotion. Apple gets nothing except exclusivity. No money changes hands. This is exactly what happened when Netflix was on the Xbox 360 for about a year exclusive. It was no money was paid from Microsoft to Netflix. No money was paid from Netflix to Microsoft. But the exclusivity got people talking, got people to buy Xboxes, got people to sign up for Xbox Live Gold. This is the same thing. If you want to play Mario, you're going to buy an iPhone. That's pretty lame. I doubt very many people are going to buy an iPhone to play Mario. I mean, they're going to buy an iPhone because they want an iPhone. But Mario gets a ton of promotion, and Apple can brag that this is exclusive. So, is this a good step for either company? It's great for Apple because it gives Apple something exclusive and it's fun. And you probably have, 150 million, 200 million people who have played Mario games. So lots and lots and lots of people are going to, be interested in iPhone. I think the problem with Super Mario Run is, to quote the late and not so great Satoru Iwata, it's free to start. And he said this a couple of years ago, and I think I did a Pachter or Pack Attack about this. He said he was questioned about what he thought about free to play. And he said, we prefer free to start. And he didn't explain it, but we now are seeing it. The first few levels will be free to start. And if players would like to play the remainder of the full game, they get to pay a full price to be determined later. So I have a bet with Brian Crescente of Polygon about that price. And Brian thinks it's $4.99, and I think it's $9.99. And we're going to see. So I told Brian I win at $9.98 and above, and he wins at $9.97 and below. But I think it's going to be a $10 download. I don't think it's going to be cheap. He actually thought it might be $1.99 or $2.99. The problem I think that Nintendo faces, they have a strategic problem. I think that they are firmly stuck staring in the rearview mirror. And they are looking at their past and they're saying, we have thrived as a company by selling software, by charging people to buy our game. And they look at mobile and they think mobile equals the devil. That mobile is free we do not give our content away. Our content is super valuable. Now, if you Google Pachter and free to play, you will see that I made a presentation in 2011 where I said the only problem with free to play is it's free. And I said I truly believe that free to play mobile companies should deliver ads to people who don't want to pay. And there is no consumption of content anywhere that's free, unless it's government supported. So if the government sponsors a library or public television, it's free. But if you want to consume a game or music or movies or television or books, you pay for it. And you either pay for it by paying the publisher or you pay for it by watching commercials. And yet the games business created this free model for mobile, and somehow 98% of all people who play games pay nothing. Nintendo doesn't like that. Me either. But Nintendo, rather than say, if you want to play Super Mario Run, we're going to make you watch a pre-roll advertisement for 30 seconds, which I think would be a phenomenal model, because I think they would still get 100 million downloads and have 100 million people watching an ad every day. Instead, they say, we'll let you play 3 levels, and when you want to go to level 4, the game will freeze and something will pop up and say, please pay $4.99 if Brian Crescente is right, or please pay $9.99 if I'm right, if you want to continue. Everybody moved away from paid download to free to play. Why? Because paid download didn't generate as much revenue as free to play generates. And what game publishers discovered was, if you get 2% of your players to pay, and you only, you have 20 million downloads, you have 400,000 people paying you. If you try to sell it, you probably won't have 400,000 paid downloads. So you end up making more money from the same people who get hooked on the game for free, advance very far, and then decide to spend money than you will by asking them to pay before they play the game. They just won't do it. Now, is Nintendo different? Sure. Is it better? Sure. So does it have enough fans who are willing to pay for a game? Sure. But on a cell phone, I'm not so sure. So my bias is they will charge between $5 and $10. If they charge between $5 and $10, they will sell between 5 and 10 million units, because there are that many of you Nintendo fanboys out there. So I'm going to just throw out the number, $50 million. They're going to make $50 million. That's a lot. Once. Then the next year, $20 million. Then the next year, $0 million. Because everybody who wants it and is willing to pay before they play it, it's going to buy it. And that's it, $50 million. Compare and contrast that with the Kim Kardashian game, free to play. They did $168 million its first year. What the hell is Nintendo thinking? Sorry to Kim Kardashian. Nintendo is more popular than Kim Kardashian. Mario is a bigger deal than Kim Kardashian. I think Mario is the number 1 or 2 most recognized brand, and Nintendo is for sure, in the world. So what the hell is wrong with them? Make it free to play, and you get 500 million downloads. And if only 2% of those people spend money, that's 10 million people spending money. And the ARPU is literally probably about $20 a month. So if you can get, 10 million people spending money at $20 a month, you make something like $240 million, not 50. And that's forever. So I think that Nintendo completely screwed this up. We'll see how it works in the execution. I think it's a good sign that they're putting their content on mobile. A bad sign that they're sticking with the late Mr. Iwata's idea of free to start, because he's wrong, and that's a proven to fail business model. That's what I got to say. Okay, our next question this week from Twitter is from @GameBrainVic. The Xbox One is now outsold PS4 for 2 months straight. Is this just because of the novelty of the hardware refresh of the Xbox One S combined with people waiting for the Slim Pro, or is this the start of a larger trend? Yes, it's because of the novelty of the hardware refresh. Look, the Xbox One outsold the PS4 because they discounted the old Xbox One models. The S replaced the existing. The S is a good-looking, new, cool device. It does some cool stuff. It's got 4K video playback and stuff. And I think that people were frozen on the PS4. The Slim leaked out because Sony chose to launch the Slim September 15th, and they had to leak not leak. They had to ship and manufacture first and ship units. And the ones that leaked out of the United Arab Emirates, but they were at retail somewhere, not retail, at wholesale somewhere. Somebody leaked boxes out, pictures out, so we knew this was coming, and it froze people from buying PlayStations. That totally makes sense to me. They announced PS4 Pro with that, the Neo name, back in June, so we knew it was coming. I don't think anybody thought it was coming this soon, but that depressed sales. And Xbox One has only outsold PS4 in the US. I doubt it's outsold them internationally. So yes, it's a novelty. I don't think it has anything to do with Microsoft reinvigorating its user base. I don't think any of that's happened yet. I think what's really interesting is now that the boxes are cheap, will PS4 owners buy an Xbox One S? Maybe, because they might want to play Gears of War and Halo. Will Xbox One owners buy a PS4 Slim? Yeah, they should. So I actually think you're going to start to see, dual ownership really take off, and I think that's just good for everybody. A question from Twitter, @SolidGamer. Do you think Zelda will go mobile? So back to my earlier answer. I think people were surprised that Mario was the next game announced. I think Nintendo's first several mobile announcements were Miitomo, which was nothing. I mean, it wasn't a brand. Fire Emblem, which is a cool kind of hardcore brand, but not super, big demand. It's a niche kind of brand. And Animal Crossing, which is a pretty powerful brand, but, more on the niche side than it is on the mass market side. I think we were kind of expecting that you were going to never see Mario or Zelda. I personally thought they had to do one or the other. I think that Zelda will go mobile if Super Mario Run works. So if Super Mario Run has 500 million downloads, Zelda will be out 3 or 6 months later. If I had to bet, that's the one that they have in development for next. I think Nintendo probably genuinely believes that it is brilliant and that it's going to reinvigorate the broken business model of paid download, and that 500 million people are going to download Super Mario Run. I think if I'm right and 10 million people pay, or maybe 20 million at the most, I think you might not see Zelda for a while. So I think Nintendo honestly believes it's going to kill it. Shareholders absolutely believe it because they bid Nintendo stock up $5 billion just on the Super Mario Run announcement. We'll see. If it does 500 million, I'm wrong, and I will have to apologize on air, and I will do so. If it sells 5 or 10 million, I'm right, and I don't think you're going to see Zelda for a while. So we'll see. I frankly think that if this doesn't work free to start with paid download, that you'll get Nintendo to go back to a free-to-play model. The problem with free-to-play for Nintendo is that requires a different game design. Because if you do your side-scrolling platformer, you just play the game. You get through the level and you're done. There's no need to create goods to purchase or an economy with microtransactions and harvesting resources, etc., etc. That's hard to do. They don't really know how to do it, which is why I think they've kind of reverted to the old model of selling you something. So if, in fact, they resign themselves to no more paid download and only free-to-play, they're going to have to revamp how they think about designing a game so they can include harvesting, resource management, microtransactions. It's not intuitive to them, and I'm saying that that's bad. It's not intuitive to anybody. Obviously, making mobile games that are successful is super hard. And even, you talk about brands. The Star Wars mobile game, I don't think any Star Wars mobile game has ever done 100 million in a year yet. So, FIFA hasn't done 100 million in a year yet. I think the only branded game I can think of, there's probably been a Marvel game. The only branded game, from another medium that's done well free to play, maybe The Simpsons, over 100 million. So it's really hard to get a powerful brand to do that. And I think Nintendo has aspirations that every one of its games are going to be 500 million. Pokemon Go is really the first one that's going to be well above 100 million, probably $1 billion. But that's not Nintendo, so I think it's interesting. Okay, we have another question from Twitter from @Megadad'sBlog. Do you think the success of Pokemon Go and Super Mario Run could affect Nintendo's console plans eventually? Could, probably should, probably won't. So yes, it could. I think that Nintendo lives in this kind of a dream world that its content must be dedicated for its consoles. It's finally backing away from that and saying, we'll make a different form of our content for mobile, and we're going to try to keep the console model of paid download, paid purchase alive. And I think they'll back off of that if that doesn't work. Pokemon Go, remember, is not a Nintendo product. Nintendo has exclusive rights from the Pokemon Company to make console versions of Pokemon games. And console includes dedicated handheld console hardware. But they don't have the rights to mobile, which is why, it went to iOS and Android through Niantic. So I think that, they probably didn't vote against it, but I don't think you will see Nintendo licensing its content to a third-party developer like Niantic to make, a mobile game. They're going to do it themselves. So I frankly think that Nintendo looks at mobile as a supplement, not a substitute for consoles. I think that they believe that Nintendo can segment their brands, put them on mobile and handheld and console, and you, the consumer, will buy all three. And by segmenting, maybe a broader audience plays on mobile, a narrower audience on handheld, and an even narrower on console. But they think they can sell the same content 3 or 4 times, and I think they're going to find that they're wrong. Frankly, I think that console to mobile is analogous to really full-length feature films to YouTube videos. I think that there are some console games that are not that great, and there are some mobile games that are that great. So maybe in those cases, the super successful mobile game is more like serialized television, where you keep coming back for another episode and you play for 5 or 6 years. And I get that, and that's the super really good ones. But, the experience, play Candy Crush. The experience is 2 minutes. You play a level, it's 2 minutes to finish a level, and you may lose, but it's a 2-minute experience. You play for 2 minutes, and you can stop, and you're okay. You can come back tomorrow and play for 2 minutes. If you want to play for 20, if you have enough lives, sure. But it's not a several-hour experience. Go play Uncharted and tell me you played that for 2 minutes, or Fallout. Doesn't happen. You don't ever say, oh, I've got 2 minutes to kill. I'll load up Fallout on my PS4. That just doesn't happen. So think about it. It's a 2-hour commitment when you play a game, and it's a 2-minute commitment when you play mobile. And again, some games maybe 5, maybe 15. Yeah, but even like League of Legends, like 45 minutes an hour, those are more like TV show as opposed to console. How many of you played Call of Duty and played for 3 hours at a sitting or 5 hours a sitting? It's a different experience. I think that Nintendo is fine to pursue all of them. I think they're wrong to try to force their console model onto mobile gaming. I think that makes it extremely difficult to succeed. And if you really look at all the guys who are good at mobile, none of them are particularly good at console. If you look at the guys who are really good at console, none of them are particularly good at mobile. And Nintendo's likely to be no exception to that rule. They're likely to be just like everybody else, struggling to get the mobile formula right. It is like a major motion picture studio deciding to make YouTube videos. They'll look great, but will they be good? I doubt it. I think that there's an art to making a mobile game, and I think Nintendo's got a lot of learning to do. It's not automatic that its brands carry over. So I think, yes, it could affect their console plans. I just don't think it will until they get bitch slapped and told how bad they are. With that, fellow babies, we're going to take a break for another week. Appreciate you joining us on SIFTD.net if you can afford it. And if you can't afford it, we completely understand why you're watching on YouTube. Should you be watching a week late on YouTube, we'd very much appreciate a like and a share, because that'll help us to get the word out to more people and will help Shane to fund his continuing education in how to be an entrepreneur. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week. I just think they're lame. I think rather than come up with a new mobile experience, put all of your games on mobile, charge $5 for all of them, put 200 games on mobile. How many units of 200 games did you sell? 1 million each.